All right, welcome everybody. I'm your host, Rich the Barber, formerly known as RH Blends on all platforms. Today is a special day. We got a big guest from Atlanta, came all this way to christen in the new shop here at Iconic Men, also powered by Babyliss Pro. I want to give a warm welcome to Hawk the Barber.
What's going on, everybody? Appreciate y'all for
Mm-hmm.
having me. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
indeed.
How you doing, man?
Man, I'm blessed, man.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
sir. Yes,
The
sir.
flight was good.
Flight was great. Look cold, a
Yeah,
little
yeah. I
colder
was
than
gonna say.
expected. I say I found the right time to come up here, but
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, today's like -6. You
Yeah.
guys deal with Fahrenheit out there, right?
Yeah,
Do you know
Fahrenheit.
what that conversion would be like?
I'm not sure, but definitely super cold. Yeah, super
Yeah,
cold.
I
Probably,
feel you
probably
on that
below
one.
zero.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's insane. And it's in Canada. I don't know if you noticed. It's like when it's this cold,
Yeah,
you don't even get that much snow. It's just
just
freezing.
freezing cold.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
insane. Like if you don't get the chance to stick around, but I know that Alberta, the
okay.
next like province over right now, they're feeling -30.
Okay, yeah, I'll definitely
So
be back in the summertime for
yeah,
sure.
oh yeah, summer, yeah, definitely,
I'll
definitely.
definitely be
You
back in
gotta
the
see it in the
summertime.
summer,
Yeah.
100%, 100%. Okay, so I just wanted to quickly start off before we even get into any like deep conversations or bulk, man. I just wanted to know what are you thinking about the Toronto scene right now in terms of haircuts? What do you think?
Oh
I,
man.
I know whenever I travel,
Yeah.
I see different cuts and different styles all the time.
Right.
When you've walked around in the airport, even here in the shop, what do you think about the Toronto style? Or have you
Uh,
noticed the Toronto
I didn't
style?
see too many at the airport, but just from the styles that I've seen here at the shop today,
Yeah,
definitely clean fades, clean shape ups. I mean, all around, just clean all the way.
yeah,
The vibe here, just at the shop, is just immaculate. To be able to have the retail store in the front, barbershop in the back, yeah,
yeah.
this is definitely ideal.
Yeah,
Definitely ideal.
absolutely. Ever since I joined onto the team, I could say myself too. Like it's wicked to have that. Like I mean, even
Yeah.
as a barber, we're spoiled, man. It's like
Come on, man. Yeah, you
if you
run
need
out
a
of something,
product,
you
you
right up
walk
in the
in.
front. So this is the crazy part. So as a barber, you don't have to go to another barber station to grab their stuff.
Right.
You literally just, hey,
I need
you
this.
got the shop right in the front. So yeah,
One hundred
this is
percent.
definitely dope.
100%. All right, man, that's wicked. Would you say that you noticed that we have any like particular like style? Like, would you say that Toronto, like you've seen like more long haircuts? Would you say that like we seem like
Mm,
well rounded, or is it exactly the same? Like haircuts have become so universal because everybody's on social media.
Yeah, I think due to social media, all haircuts are kind of like trending in that same boat.
Yeah,
It's like one of those things where I think from Florida, from down south, West Coast, up north, you kind of getting a mixture of all kind of the same cuts. So I think the cuts that I've seen coming out of here today is pretty much like how they're doing over in the U.S.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's definitely good to know because I thought like for sure at least when I back in the day when I was coming up and I'd be watching other barbers on YouTube and things like
Uh
that,
huh.
it would seem like if you're in like say for example Chicago or wherever, you're getting like one specific type of
Right.
client, and I would have thought the same in Atlanta, but that's cool. So things are definitely mixing and blending now.
Yeah, most definitely. I would say probably where I'm at in Atlanta, you probably get more of the man units and stuff like that. And
Oh,
I'm
for
not for
real?
sure if they do that here, but yeah, down in
Yeah,
Atlanta,
it's like here and there type
yeah,
of thing.
yeah. But you got to think also Atlanta is like the mecca of like new Hollywood, so you
Yeah,
get actors and stuff like
yeah,
that. So you
yeah.
getting a lot of trends that's getting pushed through Atlanta that's
Right.
getting served out. But yeah, you'll see a lot of that down there for
Fair
sure.
enough.
Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned the man units though,
Hmm.
because something that came up recently, I don't know if you've been paying attention, maybe you have. Have you seen those Cat Williams interviews? So he's
I've
been
seen a
going
few. Yeah,
crazy,
I've seen a
obviously.
few of them.
But the thing that threw me for a loop though is Steve Harvey in the man unit.
Yeah. I found that out a few years ago. It messed my childhood up because we everybody used to come inside the barbershop saying,
Yeah.
let me get that Steve Harvey lineup,
Right,
and the
right,
whole
right.
time, yeah, he had a man unit on. But I will say this, I will credit the barber who was actually doing that unit for him to have a bald head, to have a fro unit, and it to look that believable. Oh, the barber was doing a phenomenal job.
Well,
Yeah.
now I get it because I saw that clip where he said he was paying him like a
Oh
thousand
yeah,
dollars
yeah,
every four.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, that makes
That makes
sense
sense. Yeah,
because I couldn't believe it. Like I found out from Cat Williams, so I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah,
there's no way.
yeah,
Like it had me for a loop for
yeah.
like the whole day.
It messed a lot of people up for sure, for sure.
Man, I was tripping. So you know what? That kind of segues right into the next thing. I feel like in the States, you guys do deal with a lot of like man units.
Hmm.
I think you'll do like even a little bit more color and things like that, and that's all kind of integrated into the barbershop. Um, I know that in the States, everybody has to be licensed to be in the shop, right?
Yeah,
So
correct.
Canada is a little bit different. We have a hairstyling license. Barbershops don't really have licenses like that, right? It's like
Hmm.
you can essentially just like work, right?
Oh wow.
It's not really a problem, right?
Okay.
You're not going to get in any forms of trouble. Now, hairstyling is a bit different, right? Like
Hmm.
that's when you're actually adding in like the chemical
Chemicals and
processes
stuff
and
like
everything
that. I
like
can
that.
see that.
So
Right.
personally, I'm a licensed barber. I went to hair school, things like that. Um, how do you feel about like hearing that like there's another city or country that doesn't really have to do that? Because I know UK is kind of similar.
Yeah, so I know even in the states, it's a couple states in the U.S. that don't necessarily push it that hard, because they take it as if how can I say it, that the craft is not really that serious of a craft,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And that would probably be my only issue that I would see out of it, is just just the respect found of
Right.
saying that barbers are there like a doctor or like a dentist,
Yeah.
and I also think too that's what kind of have the barber prices up and down so much because it's just like that's just a hustle that they do, it's just a
Exactly.
job that they do. So I think I don't knock it,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I just think when you do have that paperwork to show like this is a profession for me, that's when the clients are able to see that they're dealing with a professional,
Yes.
so yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that's like what finally got me into it because I mean, again, there's no real it's not incentive is the right word, but there's no push for you to necessarily do that here.
Right, right, right.
But I felt like in myself, I'm like, you know what? If you want to be treated like a professional, maybe you just take that extra step and show your clients like, this is what I've done.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? It shows that I care about the industry and I know a little bit more.
Hmm.
It doesn't necessarily mean that you're like a pro at cutting hair, but it really shows that you put that first step forward.
Right, right.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's barber school like in the States?
Barber school in the States, I mean, you can pretty much just really depending on which state you're in, but for the most part, 1,500 hours, 1,700 hours.
Mhm.
You can knock it out in 9 months, or you can do, I think it's either 18 months for apprenticeship and then 12 months if you want to go like full time. Yeah.
Okay. So you could skip the barber school part if you just do apprenticeship, you're saying?
Yeah. So if you do the apprenticeship, you don't have to do barber school.
Oh, okay,
Yep.
okay.
Yep.
You
But
just
if
got to go write your test after it.
Yeah,
So you get
yeah.
the book and
But
you
you
study.
you you need I think it's 18. I think it's 18 months. Yeah,
18 months
18
of
months. So it's a
apprenticeship.
little bit longer. Yeah, a
Yeah,
little bit
yeah,
longer
yeah, yeah.
process. But if you're doing school, you can knock it out in 9 months or 12 months.
Right, right,
Yeah,
right. What was your route?
9 months.
9 months. Yeah,
wanted,
it makes more sense.
I wanted to get in, I wanted to get out. So I went from 9 to 9 every day. Yeah,
True.
every day. And
Oh wait, so you can choose how long you're in barber school for? Like in terms of like the hours in the day?
well, either you can go full time or you can go part time.
Okay. Yeah.
And I just chose to go full time. So most people they can't go full time because they got to work,
Yeah.
But at that time, I just got down to Atlanta, so that was the only thing on my mind. And I knew once I got out of barber school, I would
Yeah.
be going straight into a shop. So
Okay,
yeah,
okay, it makes sense.
yeah,
So then for yourself, like why not do the apprenticeship if like because I'm assuming you have to pay for barber school, right?
yeah.
So why not do the apprenticeship route if
Uh,
like you're already like gonna be in shop and things like that?
so I feel like I think I actually had a guy ask me that today while I was here.
Yeah,
I feel like with the apprenticeship route, you
yeah,
got to make sure that you're under the right barber that's going to give you everything you need,
yeah,
right? Because I
100%.
feel like sometimes with an apprentice, if you're in the shop with
Yep,
that barber's busy, you're getting busy now, and
yep,
it's just more so just focused on haircuts and that's it, right?
yeah,
And when you go to school, you're actually getting textbook stuff. You're
Yeah.
actually going through the whole process. So,
Yeah.
you know, I just feel like obviously when you're at the school, it's one of those things where you're just getting the fundamentals all the way through. So,
Yeah, it makes sense. So then that's the route that you would probably say recommend somebody
yeah,
that wants
I
to get
would
in the
definitely
industry?
say if especially if you're new to it. Now,
Right.
that's a great question of what you just asked, because if there's a barber that's been cutting 5, 10+ years, but just never got the opportunity to get their license, and they know the ins and the outs of a shop, how to get clients and how to cut hair better than some people who probably got their license, right?
Right.
I would say, yeah, probably go get an apprenticeship, right?
Right.
Because once again, you don't necessarily need to, you know, do all of that if you already got majority of that information already. But if
100%.
you're somebody that's just like, hey, I'm thinking about being a barber, I would definitely recommend that person to go to school so you could really see the ins and outs and the fundamentals, and then step off into that.
Yeah. Man, that makes perfect sense. Now, because we have hairstyling here and we don't have a barbering license,
Hmm.
do y'all have a hairstyling license as well? Like a hairdresser, or is everything barbering?
Yeah, you got cosmetology license, and then you got barbering license,
Okay.
master barber license. Yeah.
So what is that Cosmo license like? Is that like women's hair and like color and stuff, or is
So
that
it's,
just completely
yeah, so
different?
cosmetologist license, that's like hair, obviously, you know, dealing with the chemicals, I think even nails. Yeah,
Oh, so
even
that's
like
like what we would
nails,
call like
makeup, all
yeah.
that stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so that's like what we would call like estheticians over here.
Yep.
Okay, that
Yep.
makes a lot of sense. All right, cool. Um, so I mean, we kind of talked about like you going to school for 9 months.
Yeah.
Um, like what's your story in terms of like you getting into barbering? Like,
hmm
did you you said you like when you came to Atlanta, where were you before that?
Yeah. So I'm originally from Ohio,
Okay.
and was raised by my dad, and me and my brother was. And at that time, I think I was probably around 12 when I first picked up some clippers. But
Okay.
my dad was a military guy, you know,
Yeah.
so he was giving us haircuts. He was doing the best that he can do. Sometimes he would take us to the shop from time to time.
Right.
But yeah, I think we got tired of just, for me, myself, I can't speak for my brother because I think he was growing his hair out. But for me, I was just like, man, we got to fade this in just a little bit better. So, you know, knowing my
Yeah.
dad, he was just like, listen, you don't like it, get a job or learn how to cut it yourself. And I said, well, I'll do that. I'll just cut it myself. So I
Yeah.
think I was just cutting it down, even Steven, you
Yeah.
know, and trying to put designs in there when I could. And that's how I got started, man.
True,
Yep.
true, true.
Yep.
And then so what, you were cutting from like 12. When do you actually start cutting people?
So I think I started cutting like, you know, friends and family and stuff like that as time went on. But I visited my mom down in Atlanta, Georgia when I was 16.
Okay.
And I got the opportunity to cut in a barbershop. Now, I didn't have no license, so I shouldn't have been in there. But, you
Yeah.
know, I had the opportunity to do so, and learned a lot. Learned a lot. I was in there with some real good barbers.
Heck
And
yeah.
that summer, man, I was making some good money, and that was all she wrote. That's all I needed to see, you know.
Yeah.
So I went back to Ohio to graduate, and the day after I graduated, I came straight back down to Atlanta and got right into barber school, and ain't looked back since, man.
Oh,
Yeah,
true.
yeah,
That's wicked. So these guys over there in Atlanta had given you an opportunity at
yeah,
16
yeah.
just for the summer.
Just for the summer.
What
Just for
like
the
what
summer.
was it that what was it about you that they said like, all right, like come through? Did you come in? Did you
Uh,
have a connection?
so honestly, man, I think the guy who had the shop,
Yeah.
he wasn't a barber. He just owned the shop, and
Okay.
he seen me and my mom's out at like a gas station or something like that, and he was just like, hey, you know, come check out our shop. And you know, I got my chest all out. I'm like, man, I cut hair, man. I'm good. And she like, yeah, he's a real good barber. And he like, oh yeah, well, I got a spot for him at my shop.
What?
So granted, what I seen in my eye was he was trying to shoot his shot at my mom's.
Okay.
Right. So it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
come on over here, you know, come work over here.
Yeah.
And it took me like probably like a week or so to build up some courage to go over there. And man, they threw me right in the front,
Yeah.
and was just like, yeah, go ahead. And it was so
Just
crazy
taking
because,
walk-ins.
yeah, just taking walk-ins. I think the first week I was in there, the whole shop clowned me because I came in with like, you know, my Walmart clippers,
Yeah.
you know, and they like, man, unplug them before you start a fire in the shop, you know. So yeah, it was crazy, man. But they definitely showed me a lot. Yeah, they showed me a
Yeah.
lot. Yeah.
Man, that is crazy. And then so you just stayed in Atlanta ever since. You moved
Yeah.
back after graduating barber
Yep.
school.
So once I moved back, got into barber school, graduated 9 months, and yeah, I was off on to the running.
Yeah,
I got linked up with one of my guys. He was like my mentor. He wasn't a barber, but he knew the business of being a barber. He passed away during COVID, but he was like my mentor, my
yeah,
coach, best friend, all that stuff, man. And he
yeah.
really showed me the ropes. He showed me the
Absolutely.
ropes and opened up a lot of shops with him, managed shops for him. We opened up one together. We opened up a barber school together. So yeah, we did a lot.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
we did a
amazing.
lot.
So do you guys currently have that barber school
So
going
the
on right
barber
now?
school is still going. I'm
Yeah.
not necessarily, with that particular brand anymore, but I
Okay.
still help them out from time to time. Yeah, yeah,
100%.
yeah, yeah.
100%. Now, I love that you were talking about your story in the sense of like y'all opened up shops, y'all
hmm
did schools. Um, your current situation right now with the barbershop, I did a little bit of research and I saw
hmm
that you ended up switching up with your brand a little bit, and the shop closed down, and you're currently in a suite, right?
Right.
Um, what was the story behind that? Like, if you don't mind me asking.
So right during the time of COVID, we had shut down the shop that I was saying I did with my business partner.
Yeah.
We had shut down that shop. COVID happened. I took a break for the summer.
Okay.
So then when I did jump back into barbering, I was just looking for a suite. And then I kept looking, and my homegirl, Brandy, the barber doll, she turned me on to the spot that I'm at now, that I
Yeah.
was at that particular time.
Yeah.
And it was like a work live type of situation. So people
Okay.
lived out of the lofts and they worked out of the lofts. So I ended up going over there, opening up shop. Made a whole experience that was just like something that was new and refreshing.
Yeah.
Obviously people could come shoot pool, they can get a haircut. Had private chefs that would come cook them meals
No way.
as they were getting their haircut. So it was definitely something that was like one of a kind for sure.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
they ended up. I was there for 3 years, and then they ended up putting law into place where they was just strictly residential, no more mixed in with like
Oh,
work and
okay.
live spaces. So that kind of started happening all over Georgia. Yeah, so it
Oh,
happened to a
okay.
couple other barbers that I knew as well, and they had brought it
Dang.
over to where I was at, and I wasn't living there. It was just my shop. So
So you
I
had to
ended up, yeah,
bounce.
had to end up shutting it down, and it was cool though because God kind of revealed it to me right when I got in there.
Yeah.
It was just like the day I set everything up in that place, that same week, God said, "Don't get comfortable. You're not gonna be here long." And I was just like, "Dang!" I'm like,
Yeah.
I just got in here. But He gave me that peace to know, like, whenever it did come, don't even be upset because
Yeah. Don't trip.
I already let you know. So that was pretty cool. So now I'm just at my suite now,
Yeah.
waiting to see what that next big move is. Yeah, yeah,
100%. Okay.
yep.
Okay. Okay. It's amazing that you got a strong faith as well. I
Oh yeah,
saw that
yeah, yeah.
because I feel like nowadays, like a lot of us kind of lose that, especially like that's our
Yeah,
background, and we almost lose it, and then now we're out here trying to navigate the
right, right,
world, and
right.
then like when things happen to you, you're kind of like, oh, like why me? Like what's the issue? You can't figure it out. So
hmm
it's good that you have that strong faith to keep you grounded.
Very important.
Yeah,
Very
yeah, yeah,
important.
100%. So how long have you been in the suite now?
I've been in the suite now for almost about, let's say, 7 months.
Seven
Yeah, 7
months.
months now.
All
Yeah.
right. So I mean, you kind of were put there,
hmm
but that's a big debate in the barbering world: suites versus
Right, right,
barbershops.
right.
Um, well, again, what do you think about a barber maybe brand new to the industry, trying to get in? Should they be in a suite? Should they be in a barbershop?
Um,
Because I see a lot of young guys trying to just jump into a suite right
yeah,
away.
I think it kind of goes back to what I was saying just about the apprenticeship or going to school.
Hmm.
If you're a new barber, obviously to get inside of a shop to be able to see how a shop is ran is
Yes.
always important, right?
Yes.
Because I'm gonna just give a prime example. When I got out of barber school, in my mind, yeah, I was thinking big, right? So in my mind, I thought once I graduate from barber school, I'm going to open up my own shop.
Yeah.
I'm thinking big, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
I would have did that at that particular time, the shop would have probably closed as quick as I opened,
It's
right? Because I
true.
didn't know anything about opening up a shop.
Absolutely.
So for me to have the opportunity to work with somebody that knew the business and was able to give me an opportunity to manage a shop,
Yes.
that let me see everything I need to see before opening up the shop.
Absolutely.
So I would always advise any upcoming barber to make sure that, you know, learn everything first, right? And then if you want to pinpoint, hey, I want to just work in my own space, or hey, I want to open up a shop, you
Yeah.
can do so, but
Right.
learn the stuff, because I think one of the biggest things that we run into, and this just goes for anything, right?
Right.
We chase the product more than the process.
Yeah.
So I want the product because it looks good. I see what
Yeah.
everybody else is doing,
Absolutely.
instead of chasing the process of what's in the middle. And when you
Absolutely.
look at the process is what helps you get to that level where you want to be at. So you can't
100%.
skip anything, man.
No, you
You
can't.
can't skip anything.
Yeah,
So
100%. A phrase that I always knew is if you try to build that house and
mhm.
you build it from the top down and you don't have that strong foundation,
Right
it's
on.
gone.
It's gonna be
Yeah,
gone.
100%. Because I agree. Like I was almost against sweets for a long time.
Mhm.
In a sense of like people always thought like if I have a suite, I own my business.
Mm.
And I'm kind of like, I don't really believe that you like own your business per se. You created a job for yourself and there's security in that and you can do your thing and you have a lot
Right.
of freedom. But I feel like, you know, when you want to call yourself a business owner, you might be providing opportunities for others. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? I feel like that's where that suite lacks. And I think a lot of people kind of look at, again, the end goal. They want to be a boss right away.
Right.
And they think like, hey, let me just jump into a suite so I can say that about myself and I don't got to answer to anybody.
Yeah.
But I think to your point, you got to go and learn from somebody else and kind of go underneath them and yeah, and just learn. Because if you don't, you'll never be able to pass that on to somebody else. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always going through the process definitely helps. Now I would say for anybody that is in a suite,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the perks of why I think most barbers do go to the suite route is because they weren't able to find the type of shop that suited what type of business they did want to run.
Yes.
So, you know, a lot of barbers, they go to suites because they feel like, hey, every shop I went to wasn't matching where I was trying to go. So if I get
Yeah.
my own suite, I
100%.
could kind of promote my own type of style of what I want to do. So, you know, I think that's what suites are good for. And I think that's why suites are, you know, getting bigger and bigger, because
Yeah.
people get to see, they get an opportunity to say, hey, this is how I would see me, you know, running my own shop. And this gives me a taste to do so as well. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I would just always advise anybody to do it. Just make sure you have the type of clientele that you can survive being in somewhere that's like that. That's not a walk-in type of shop.
100%.
For
Because like
sure.
then it's like everything has to grow organically or through
Yep.
social media. You're not
Yeah.
going to be just like sitting there and people are walking in.
That's a fact.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So I also saw you're a bit of a family man.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So you got kids.
Yes.
How many do you got?
I got 3 little girls and then I got my wife. So I got 4 girls.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. What is that like? So right now I have kids myself.
Okay.
I got one boy, one girl.
Mhm.
Son's the oldest,
Yeah.
daughter's the youngest. I grew up with all brothers.
Uh-huh.
So navigating the girl world is a little bit different.
Yeah.
How are you handling just dealing with a house full of girls? Like that's different completely.
I feel like having a house full of girls, or just children in general,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one of the biggest blessings that we can ever have, because, you know, you get to pass down the things that you've learned, legacy, you know, passing that over. And I think out of all the great things that I done did in my career, being able to have, you know, my wife and my kids to share that with, they don't change up. They
Yeah,
stay the same, right?
100%.
And no matter how much money I'm making, whatever status I get to reach, you know, those are the ones that see me every single day, on my
Yeah.
good days and on my worst days, you
Yeah.
know. And yeah, man, my family, that's one of the most important things to me. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
100%.
yeah, I love it. And I, you know, I also, I moved my business around them. I remember when my first daughter was first born, in my mind, I had this thing where I had to just work, you know, and I was working so much to the point where I was telling my wife and her when she got a little bit older that I was working so hard for them, right?
Yeah.
That was my mindset. I even seen my father work every day. I can't even probably count on one hand how many times I've seen him miss work, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But as I was working the way I was working, they were never getting a part of me. So I was working hard every day. I was giving me to everybody else. And by the time I got home, I was tired. I was ready to go to sleep. I was tapped out.
Yeah.
So as time went on, my second daughter came. I said, this is not a life I want to live.
Right.
You know, like I said, I think, and this is just for any barber, any stylist, any entrepreneur, whatever, we have to understand that, you know, we have to learn how to prioritize what truly counts and what truly means the most. Money gonna come and go, right?
Absolutely.
And the time that you get with your kids, your family and all that stuff, that's time that can't be replaced.
Yeah.
You know, so that's something that I always just try to push on barbers to understand, like, yeah, it's cool to hear that you can get inside the shop at 6 in the morning and leave at 10, 11 o'clock at night. You've been there, you done cut 25 plus heads. That's good. That's cool.
Yeah.
But eventually, you will get a chance to see that you made all that money.
Yeah.
But there was somewhere else that was also missing out.
Absolutely. There's trade-offs with everything.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy that that's your story for barbering, because that's kind of my story for getting into barbering, because I was driving trucks before I started this. And I did that for years.
So you know the being gone.
Yeah,
a long time.
exactly.
Yeah.
And it was about when I had my son and he was turning about 1, and I was realizing that, like, man, like, I'm gone all the time. I wake up, he's sleeping.
Yep.
I come home, he's sleeping.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, you said I'm doing this for y'all, but, like, am I though? Like, you know, it's like you're just working.
Yeah.
And then I said, you know what, like, I got to do something different. I met a barber similar to you, like kind of a mentor to me. I saw him doing this thing, and he was cutting out of his house actually, and he was killing it.
Yeah.
And even though I never wanted to cut out of my house like on any full-time level, what I did see was that he was in control and he could do as he wanted with his time, and that was attractive to me.
Yeah.
And that's what made me like get into it.
Wow.
Yeah, and like honestly, that's what I'm so passionate about with barbering, is that, like, I think it can elevate you to whatever lifestyle that you want.
Yeah.
Even if it's something as simple as, and I want to ask as well, are you going to teach your kids the game? Because I think even if it's as simple as you don't want your kid to necessarily be a full-time barber or a full-time stylist, I do think that it's something that can get them through school. Like you're going to university, you're going to college, you can 100% be a barber through that process, right? So I'm super passionate about the young people getting into the game, and they're doing that right now.
Right.
And it's crazy. But that being said, what are your thoughts on that? Are you going to teach your kids the game?
If they show any interest in barbering, I definitely would.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing that I would show my kids is how to be a good steward over anything that's in their life. So I think the missing part that a lot of us barbers missed out on was how to actually run a business, right? We learned how to cut hair, but we lacked on how to actually run a business.
Yeah.
And a lot of us on the back end, now we're trying to catch up to learn business stuff, right? And to run a business, you have to know management skills, right? So I think for my children, I would show them stewardship, because no matter what they chose to do, especially if they seeing mom and dad being entrepreneurs, right?
Right.
I'm quite sure that they would move in that route to have, you know, their own business in some type of way.
Right.
I would preach stewardship on them to let them know, like, no matter what it is that you do, you have to manage it in the right way if you want it to be successful. So that's what I would push.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, man, that's crazy. Guys, you got to take that as a gem, because like that is something that we're not talking about in the game.
No.
We're super talking about the crispiest phase, the best lineups, and we are 100% skipping the business side of things for real, like real business though, like like taxes, like payroll, things like that. We are not talking about that.
Those are major keys, and I know it's a lot of barbers that's out here that I'm not gonna say it's a lot. It's a few barbers that's out here that touch on, obviously the business side of barbering.
Yeah.
But like I said, even when I say stewardship, and I mean, you guys are kind of getting a first glimpse of, what I'm actually saying right now, because this is something that I feel like in my calling, this is something that I'm walking into, and that's sharing stewardship as well, right? Not just with my kids, but with barbering as well, right?
Right.
And it's not just about how you're managing your money. Stewardship is over your time, over your skills, over your resources, over your family, over your body, all that stuff.
Right.
So granted, you might have the money part down,
right,
and you like, man, I'm able to manage my money. I'm seeing it coming in, I'm seeing it going out, I'm doing my taxes, all that's good.
Yeah.
But once again, if you're not being a good steward over with your family, it don't mean anything. If you're saying,
true.
hey, I'm working hard and I'm going crazy and I'm making good money and my business is prospering, but I'm not stewarding over my body, it's not matching, right?
It doesn't, man.
So that means I'm running myself ragged.
Yeah.
I'm not taking in my vitamins, I'm not working out, I'm not exercising. All those things are important. So I think that's one of the biggest missing links that's missing right now.
Absolutely. Taking care
of
yourself 100%. Because you'll really only see a few barbers do that, man. Like you'll see like the one guy in the shop where you see him like, it's not always about like cutting hair to him. He does go to the gym.
Yep,
he's
go to
he's
the
a
gym,
little bit
work
of a
out,
family
eat
man.
right, all
100%.
that. Yeah.
I try to be that guy in the shop for real. Like on the side, I do like Muay Thai. My son is involved with Muay Thai. My daughter, when she gets the chance, she'll get into it as well.
Okay.
Eat right. Man, I think that's super, super important. And like, as you said, a lot of people aren't doing that because I think barbering is one of those, because you're in control, you can completely dive off the deep end in terms of the money side. Like, all right, I'm just going to take 3-4 more clients every day. Like, I just want to do that, make more money, but you're missing out on everything else. And then you kind of become that 50-year-old, 60-year-old barber and everything hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we got to be very careful of idolizing false gods.
Yeah.
And money can become a false god.
Absolutely.
Self can become a false god.
Yeah.
Pride, however you want to put it. So I think we just truly have to be careful of those things.
100%. I feel like that's going to be a good message that you can put out on social media, because I think social media is almost that double-edged sword, right? Where because of that thing, there are tons of false gods out here that everybody is like falling trapped to, right? Because they might see even yourself where they're like, oh man, Hawk's killing it. Like, I wish I was like that. And they don't know maybe the hard times, the struggles that you have gone through to even be in that position. So man, that's amazing. Yeah. So that kind of like really brings me to one of my few final questions is that what would be your advice overall to a kid, maybe somebody who's 19, 20, or even older, and they just want to get into the game? Is it stewardship for you? Is it like focus on that simultaneously while learning the game? What's your advice to somebody getting in?
My advice, and like I said, I keep it just on a spiritual note, because if there's any information that's coming from my end that somebody want to hear from me as far as advice, and they saying like, well, Hawk's living like this and he's moving like this, how is he continuously moving up? This is truly who I am, right? And one of my favorite scriptures that I go by is Matthew 6:33.
Okay. Seek
God first, right? And his righteousness and his kingdom, and everything will be added into you after that. So if you seek his kingdom first and his righteousness, everything will be added into you. So I feel like any new upcoming barber, I don't care if it's a barber that's been cut for 15 plus years, if you continuously put God in your first in your life, everything that you might be seeking, everything that you might desire, it follows him.
Yep.
So if you follow the things first, then it's almost like you're going down in a black hole, because you might obtain those things, but you won't truly have anything that like holds value behind it, right?
100%.
And that's why you see a lot of people that's billionaires out here that's still like stressed out, committing suicide and all those things, right? Because they're chasing something that's not really tangible.
Absolutely.
It's like, if I make $1 million, now I want to make 5 million.
Yep.
I make $500 million, now I want to make $1 billion. You'll never get enough. But if I'm seeking God first, He'll add everything else that I need. So that's what I would tell any barber. That's just my honest opinion, because I just feel like that's the biggest thing that we're missing out here. We
Yo,
talk about money, we talk about success, fame, how to be this big presence. But if you don't truly have God in your life, you don't got nothing. So
man, that
yeah,
is some fire for real,
yeah,
man.
man.
And no joke, that's real. That's something that I talk a lot with my wife. Actually, my family, we've been Christians for a while. My wife's
Hmm.
family, they've been pastors the whole time,
Okay,
and
that's
we say,
dope. That's
yeah,
dope.
we say that all the time. Like that is really the missing element in the world right now. We're kind of becoming godless in that aspect, right? And
Hmm.
I think that's why you see so much mental health,
Yeah,
issues, and people are struggling with identity and things like of that nature. Just in terms of what they want is nothing's ever enough, and that's why, right?
yeah,
You're trying to fill your glass with something that can't fill it,
that's right. That's right.
right? Man, that is wicked. So let's lighten it up a little
Yeah,
bit
yeah,
and
yeah.
let's talk about some clippers. What do you
Okay.
got on your station, man?
Come on, man. You know it got to be all babeless. Yeah,
Yeah, the
rocking
whole
all
thing.
babeless right now. Obviously, the new collection, the FX1s.
Yep.
FX1s is going crazy right now. Like I
Tell me
said,
about it.
loving the batteries, how you just pop them in and out. Got good battery life. The Low Pros is one of my favorites right now. Like I
Yeah.
said, super light. Loving the lever on the side, the lock lever. That allows me to always remember my steps all the way through the fade.
Yep.
The trimmers are hitting. You can zero gap your blades. As soon as you zero gap, you ain't really got to do too much to them. But once you get them right, they
They're
hitting.
hitting
So yeah, man,
100%.
Babeless is. I'm always proud of Babeless, because when I first got on with Babeless,
Mm-hmm.
we didn't necessarily have the best tools out at the time,
Right.
but we were working our way up to that,
Yes.
right? So it was definitely a stepping out on faith, and being able to see the progress that Babeless has made over these years, and being one of the top number one clippers that's in the market right
Yeah,
now,
yeah, yeah.
it's phenomenal to see, honestly.
I genuinely think these
Yeah,
guys are number one at this
yeah,
point
yeah.
because, man, when you really think about it, whenever I'm teaching a class or anything like that, and I'm talking to
Mm-hmm.
new barbers,
Babeless is coming
that's
out.
it.
Yeah, that's it.
That's exclusively
Yeah.
it. Like they love it. Like, and I like that there's so much options. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like some people might be like, you don't love that, but I feel like there's a tool for everybody because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I started off with Andis tools, but when I jumped into that like Babeless ecosystem, I had the FX clippers, right? And I loved those. And then I started teaching a bit more, and then I thought, you know what? I don't want to be like plugging in my charger all the time. So I got the Snap FXs, and I'm like, these are wicked. And then these FX1s come out, and I'm like,
Hey, you never know with Babeless, man.
yeah,
Just when you thought they came out with enough, you got something else right around the corner. Yeah.
100%. It's crazy. So what is right now? You said you like the low pros,
Yep. Like the
right?
Low Pros.
Are you using the gold or black
Yeah,
FX1s as well?
I use the gold FX1s as well,
Yeah.
and I just bounce back and forth. Like I said, I always have my clippers set to do something different.
Yep. Yep.
So if I got my trimmers to balled out, I got
Hmm.
my Low Pros to get that ball line out. I might
Absolutely.
switch over to my gold FX1 to start transitioning up into the fade. But
Yeah.
every last one of my clippers do something different. So
Nice.
that's why I
Nice.
always
Nice.
tell barbers it's very crucial not to just have one tool. You'll hear barbers has been in the game for a long time. Like, oh, I only need one or two tools. That's
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
need.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's very crucial to have a tool that can take you from one level to the next level to the next level. And that's why it's just very important to make sure you know your tools, man. Yeah, for
Absolutely.
sure.
Absolutely. I definitely think these FX1s though are gonna take the market
Oh
by
yeah. Yeah.
storm.
Yeah. They
Like,
already doing it. They
yeah, like
already doing it.
it is crazy. Like I'll be honest, like I love the FX.
Mm-hmm.
I was like always like, yeah, a little bit on the battery life,
Yeah.
right? I'd be like, I can get a couple cuts done. It's cool, but it cuts amazing.
Yeah.
I cop these, man. I'm cutting like
Yeah.
seven people,
Battery life is
and
great.
it's
Yeah.
going.
And
I'm
let
like, this
alone
thing
if
is
you got more
crazy.
than one battery with you, yeah, you just popping and going,
Yeah,
popping and going. That's it.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
Like at this point, like I can't wait to see the black ones come out. The black
yeah.
ones aren't here yet in Canada, but when they do come out,
Trust me.
definitely
Yeah,
grabbing them. Man, it is wild, and I feel like the price point too.
Oh yeah, price point is great.
they're insane. Because I guess that was a little bit of an issue, like with the snaps. I felt like people
Yeah.
felt like they were a little bit unattainable.
Yeah.
But like now, this price point on that is good. Like I don't know how much they're going for in the U.S., but in Canada they're around that 200 mark.
Yeah, I think it's around the same
Yeah,
price. Yeah.
and that's fair for a
Yeah,
clipper now.
yeah,
Like
especially if you want something that's a good tool.
Yeah.
A good tool in your hand. Yeah, you're gonna have to pay that. But and here's another thing too that I always share with barbers.
hmm
The more you invest into yourself, other people will invest into you. So if you're scared to invest or you feel like you don't need to do that and you just gonna ride it out and you just gonna go the cheap route, uh, you're gonna get that in return.
Yeah.
And I always say what you put out is what you get back.
Yep.
So every time my clients come in and they see, oh man, you got the newest tools, you got the newest equipment, it's something that triggers off in their brain, like I want to invest into this person because I see you love to invest into yourself.
Absolutely.
But trust
And
me,
they get the benefit
if
in
you
the
ask your clients and they done went to another barber that didn't have too much on their station, they pay attention to that as well. Like, man, he was cutting me with some rusty blades, man. Oh, man, it was just terrible, you know.
Absolutely.
So, you know, those are things you got to definitely pay attention to.
100%. So you say you consider yourself a little bit of a clipper junkie then too?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But I like to bless people at the same time. You know, if somebody needs some clippers, man, I love to just see people, you know, do good in life, man. So yeah.
So you'll pass that.
Oh yeah. I know some people, man. They got a clipper grave, something crazy, man. And it just be clippers just sitting, but. Yeah, man, if I see like an upcoming barber or somebody that I just see just grinding and pushing it out, you know, I might not, you know, showcase it, but yeah, I'll just bless somebody.
Yeah, for sure. Take care of somebody.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's wicked because I won't lie. I was one of those barbers that had a clipper grave, something crazy.
Yeah.
And I really did have to like give away some clippers and things like that. Some I sold, some I gave away. But for y'all, if y'all are at home and you do got a clipper grave like that,
man, help somebody out, man. Put somebody in a good position.
100%, 100%. Man, I appreciate all of the advice and the talk, man. Honestly, I appreciate you coming through. I think everybody got some real gems from you.
Yeah, man. I appreciate y'all having me, man. Can't wait to come back this summer.
Absolutely, man. All right, thank you for your time, Hawk.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you. Beautiful. All right, guys.
That's good.